As part of our ongoing collaboration with Central Square Foundation, we are excited to bring to you the third part of this series, where we will speak to experts in the field of early childhood education to understand how play-based learning is significant for fostering holistic development. In order to ensure learning outcomes for all children are met, CSF has been working towards system-led reforms to ensure quality access to school education to children across India. The episode will be out this Saturday, the 5th of October. The conversation will be available on our website, indianexpress.com, and everywhere you get your podcasts. Make sure to listen. To listen to the first and the second episode, check out the links provided in the description. Now, on with the show.
Hi, I'm Shashank Bhargava, and you're listening to Three Things, the Indian Express news show. In this episode, we talk about the 4 Pakistani nationals who were caught living in Bengaluru last week. We also talk about the case of a Dalit student who was unable to secure admission to IIT Dhanbad, allegedly due to a technical glitch. But first, we talk about the money laundering case against Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah. Earlier this week, the Enforcement Directorate registered a case of alleged money laundering against Chief Minister Siddaramaiah, who is currently heading the Congress government in Karnataka. The entire matter began in July when 3 RTI activists approached the governor, Thawarchand Gehlot,
with a complaint that there have been some irregularities in transfer of some housing plots to Siddaramaiah's wife, and that it must be investigated.
That's Indian Express's Deeptiman Tiwary.
And subsequently, the governor, Thawarchand Gehlot, he gave sanction for prosecution in this matter for case to be registered by the Lokayukta police in Karnataka. Then this matter went to the High Court, and the High Court gave an order in favor of the governor's decision, and rest has followed. Lokayukta police has registered an FIR, and after the Lokayukta police, the Enforcement Directorate has started a money laundering investigation into the entire affair.
Now, at the heart of this case is a plot of land measuring around 3.15 acres, which was gifted to Siddaramaiah's wife, Parvati Siddaramaiah, by her brother in 2010. But it turns out that this land was later illegally acquired by the Mysore Urban Development Authority, or Muda.
And in lieu of this, in 2013, this was acquired, and then Mr. Siddaramaiah's wife told Muda that, you compensate me for this. And then Muda in 2021 allotted, 14 housing plots in what people say is a prime locality in Mysuru called the Vijayanagar locality. And there she was given these 14 housing plots, which the RTI activists in their complaint and in the FIR, which has been registered by Lokayukta police, it has been alleged that it was of much higher price and thus caused a loss of more than 55 crore to Muda. That is the prima facie case.
So essentially the allegation is that Parvati Siddaramaiah was compensated with a property of much higher value than what she was supposed to receive. But Deeptiman points out that this case is not entirely straightforward.
Because let's remember, in 2021, when this plot of land was allotted, these housing plots were allotted, a BJP government was in power in Karnataka. Okay, and it was a BJP government scheme called the 50-50 scheme, under which this exchange of land had happened. In fact, Muda in one of its meetings had agreed that it had illegally acquired the land belonging to Mr. Siddaramaiah's wife and agreed for the exchange. And it was in that 50-50 exchange scheme of a BJP government and under a BJP government that these 14 plots of land were allotted to Mr. Siddaramaiah's wife. So it's not that straightforward case. So that is why, in fact, if we see, Mr. Siddaramaiah himself has been saying that there is no case in this because this is a purely family matter. Brother has gifted a land to his sister and the government has illegally acquired that land and the government is compensating. So how is there a scam?
He says Siddaramaiah has argued that there is no money laundering involved because it was his family's plot that the government had illegally acquired.
these are arguments that he has made. I mean, these are matters that will be decided in courts later. Mr. Siddaramaiah's wife also has already written a letter to Muda surrendering these plots and said that she never expected this to turn into a controversy and she's ready to surrender these plots. So we have to see what decision Muda takes on it, but that's how the controversy stands at the moment.
And Deeptiman, right now the focus is on Siddaramaiah, but there are, of course, other people involved in this as well. So is the agency also planning to probe Muda or leaders who were part of the BJP government back then?
This is a question that only the agency can answer. But I am sure that once investigations into this entire matter begin, officials of Muda will be questioned, because whether they are questioned as witnesses or whether they are questioned as accused remains to be seen. But they will be questioned, its records will be analyzed, minutes of the meetings will be checked, what happened in which meeting, how this decision was arrived at will be laid threadbare by the investigating agency. And only then we will have a clear picture as to whether there was any wrongdoing in it or not, whether officials will be prosecuted or not prosecuted, whether other cases will come up of other allotments remains to be seen. As far as Enforcement Directorate investigations are concerned, Enforcement Directorate has many times stumbled upon new cases during its investigations, and those matters have been referred to concerned agencies and fresh FIRs have been registered. So this cannot be ruled out that more FIRs may come out of this case.
And Deeptiman, how common would you say are land-related scams in the state? Because this is not the first time we are seeing such a case like this, right?
Generally speaking, real estate is one of the quickest ways to become rich. Everybody knows it. That is why all politicians begin to invest in real estate. It is also one of the best places to hide black money, because there is very little accountability as to at what price a piece of land is bought and at what price it is sold. So there is a lot of black money involved. So in Karnataka particularly, almost political leaders of all hues, cutting across party lines, have had cases where land allotments have been involved. Interestingly, all these land allotments have happened in the adversary's regime. So you see a Siddaramaiah getting some land under a BJP government. Then you see B.S. Yediyurappa, his family getting some land under his regime and under the regime of, say, the opposition party at that time, during his regime or when it comes to power. Similarly, H.D. Kumaraswamy has got plots of land. D.K. Shiv Kumar, another Congress leader, there are cases involving allotment of land to him under Yediyurappa's regime. So there are multiple cases. Mallikarjun Kharge himself has got land under Yediyurappa's regime. So there are multiple cases of, top political leaders facing allegations that they have been illegally allotted land under various regimes.
And can you talk about what sort of happens in this case now? How will the investigation move forward?
So now Lokayukta Police will have its own investigations. It has the options of arresting or questioning whoever it wants to in this case. But the more worrying development for Siddaramaiah would be the Enforcement Directorate taking cognizance of the matter and registering a case, because the Prevention of Money Laundering Act is far more draconian than Prevention of Corruption Act. And if Enforcement Directorate arrests him or his wife, both of who are accused in this case, and then securing a bail could be a difficulty, as we have seen in the case of several other political leaders who have had several months, if not years, of incarceration before they could secure bail, and they had to go up to Supreme Court to get it. And then PMLA also has provisions for attachment of properties, so their properties could get attached, and a whole lot of complications could arise for Mr. Siddaramaiah out of this case.
And next we talk about the case of 4 Pakistani nationals who were living on the outskirts of Bengaluru and who were arrested on Sunday. The police became aware of them after 2 of their relatives, also Pakistani nationals, were caught with fake passports at the Chennai airport that very day. Indian Express's Kiran Parashar, who has been reporting on this story, told us that these 2 individuals were returning to Chennai from Dhaka.
So, based on the interrogation and the investigations, what police found out was there were 4 Pakistanis who were illegally staying in the outskirts of Bangalore under the disguise of Hindu names. So the four people were picked up on Sunday evening. One person named Rashid Ali Siddiqui, who is 48-year-old, his wife Aisha, who is 38-year-old, and her parents Hanif Mohammed, 73 years, and Rubina, 61 years. So they were living in the outskirts of Bangalore. However, Rashid Ali Siddiqui had a passport and Aadhaar card under the name of Shankar Sharma. His wife Aisha had Asha Rani, and also his in-laws had Rambabu Sharma and Rani Sharma.
He says when the police reached their house on Sunday, they were already packing to leave. Upon questioning Siddiqui, he claimed to be an Indian national named Shankar Sharma. But what surprised the police was what was written on one of the walls of the house. A name of an Islamic organization, the Mehdi Foundation International. During the investigation, they also found photographs of Islamic clerks inside the house.
So when police countered them with questions of why these Islamic clerics were there in a Hindu house and other things, then Siddiqui confessed that he belonged to Pakistan. He is from a place near Karachi and his wife family is from Lahore. He explained that they shifted to Bangladesh in 2011 after they were being religiously persecuted in his country for practicing the ideas of Mehdi Foundation.
He says the Mehdi Foundation, also known as the Masiha Foundation, was established in Pakistan in the 1970s. The organization is known for advocating interfaith peace, harmony, humanity beyond religion, and specific Sufi traditions. However, practicing its teachings in Pakistan led to blasphemy charges against Siddiqui and his family, forcing them to flee to Bangladesh. But after a few years, members of the Mehdi Foundation began to come under attack in Bangladesh as well.
Then, with the help of one person named Parvez, who is part of Mehdi Foundation from India, helped them to illegally shift to India. So they initially came to India through West Bengal using some agents, and they came to Delhi to procure their Aadhaar cards, passports, driving license under a new identity as Sharma. And Sharma and his family then shifted to Bangalore, and in Bangalore he started working as supplying vehicle engine oils to garages, and also they ran an online biryani outlet where they used to take orders and provide biryani and other food materials to the people. He was also a preacher on Alra TV, which is a YouTube channel of Mehdi Foundation International, where he preached Sufism and the ideas of the foundation.
While reporting on the story, Kiran also spoke to Amjad Gohar, one of the presidents of the organization.
So Amjad Gohar is basically a Pakistani national who has now taken asylum in United Kingdom. So I asked for his comments, and he said that the foundation is against the members who break the law of land, but also he tried to tell how it is hard for them to return back to Pakistan if they are deported. As per the law, it becomes very tragic if they return to Pakistan, as there are a lot of cases against MFI members in Pakistan. Presently, all these people, the members of Mehdi Foundation International, are facing charges in Pakistan, and they can't even go back to any other Islamic countries, and they have found shelter in India and in parts of Europe, USA and Canada.
Kiran says that when the Mehdi Foundation started in the 1970s, one of its key messages was that everyone is equal in the eyes of God. It gradually gained a large following in the country, but its growing popularity made traditional Islamic clerks very unhappy.
As the social and political landscape in Pakistan changed later, what happened was these MFI members were being treated as criminals in Pakistan. By 2000s, the MFI members, the Mehdi Foundation International members in Pakistan, were facing a lot of violence and also were facing a lot of death threats and other things because there was a religious extremism growing in Pakistan at the same time.
He says hundreds of cases were filed against MFI members, with courts sentencing some to 99 years in prison and in some instances issuing death penalties. In fact, several members were reportedly killed as well.
So if you see the history in Pakistan, in 2008, one person named Muhammad Iqbal, he was an MFI member. He lived in Punjab province. He was murdered. And in 2009, one person named Faraz Masi, he was a MFI member from the Christian community. He was murdered in Karachi. And also there were incidents of arresting many people of MFI members, and they were also paraded naked. They were brutally tortured in Pakistan. So if you see, when this religious extremism was growing in Pakistan, around 2007 or 8, what happened was a group of 63 members from Pakistan in 2007 came to India on a tourist visa, and they staged a protest in front of Pakistan embassy in New Delhi.
During the protests, these individuals reportedly burned their passports and visas, and so were later arrested by the police.
So when they were placed inside a prison, what happened later was that the MFI members globally also requested India not to send back these people to Pakistan because they would be prosecuted, and as already they have been convicted under many sections of the Pakistani law. So the Indian government gave refuge to them and from the religious persecution. And after a lot of legal deliberation, the Indian government granted them a refuge status in 2011, and members were sent to other nations like Canada, USA, and countries in Europe. So a lot of MFI members who are of Pakistan are presently living in the Western world.
He says that currently Siddiqui and his family are still under arrest, and the police are also investigating any possible terror links.
They are also finding out whether they were also involved in any kind of religious violence or anything that took place in India. But as of now, according to the investigations, what police have found out is that these people were the members of Mehdi International Foundation, and they were also involved in promoting the idea of the foundation itself.
And in the end, we discussed the case of Atul Kumar, an 18-year-old student who cleared the JEE but lost his seat at the Indian Institute of Technology, Dhanbad, allegedly due to a technical glitch. However, the Supreme Court heard his case earlier this month and ultimately ruled in his favor. Vidheesha Kuntamala, who has been reporting on the case for the paper, tells us that Kumar belongs to the Dalit community and that his father is a part-time tailor and daily wage laborer at a factory in Meerut. And so, it had been difficult for the family to arrange the college's acceptance fee.
So the acceptance fee is something which you need to pay when you're accepting your admission to an institution. So in this case, Atul got into IIT Dhanbad. So the family took a little time to sort of arrange the 17,500 rupees which they were supposed to arrange to pay the fee. And by the time they could arrange it and submit the application and pay the fee, for some reason the candidate, this is what Atul claims, is that 3 minutes before the portal just stopped responding. So that was the technical glitch which sort of stopped him from paying his fee, and portal just shut and he couldn't accept the seat that he was being offered. So this was the case for which Atul had approached the Supreme Court.
The court instructed IIT Dhanbad to provide Atul a seat and directed the institute to admit him to the same batch for which he had applied.
And the bench also stated that this admission of the student should be done by creating a supernumerary seat, which means that it should not affect the seats of the other students who are being admitted in this particular batch. And the court also said that he would be entitled to all consequential benefits, including hostel allotment.
Now, what's worth noting is that Atul's case is unfortunately not an exception. In the past, a similar thing had happened to a student named Prince Singh.
So this was a case which happened 3 years ago in 2021. Prince was also a Dalit student and the court had also ruled in his favor. So in Prince's case, he lost a seat in IIT Bombay, and this happened on October 31st, 2021 due to his bank facing a technical glitch which prevented him from paying the seat acceptance fee before the deadline. It was almost very similar to what had happened with Atul. But in Prince's case, the glitch came from his bank's side.
Prince tried a number of ways to make the payment go through, but could not meet the deadline, and which is what led him to approach the Supreme Court, which also ruled in his favor.
So now it's been 3 years for Prince, and when we reached out to Prince, he's thriving now. He's academically thriving. He's socially doing very well. It was in 2021. So now it's his 7th semester, and he's currently pursuing civil engineering. And back then he was 18, now he's 21. And so currently he's at IIT Bombay. His CGPA is around 7.7. And he also heads the business team of the Institute's satellite project. So even for Prince, I mean, what is very special about this story is that when Atul was going through this entire hardship and before he had to make the decision to approach the court, Atul's father had reached out to Prince. Atul's father called Prince, and Prince was one of the first people to encourage Atul and his family to go to the court and fight for the seat that Atul deserved. What is also very special about the story is that even in Prince's case, Prince had taken the example of his senior, Siddhant Batra. Currently, he's passed out from the institute, from IIT Bombay only. But Siddhant Batra's case in 2020, even Siddhant Batra had lost his seat at IIT Bombay because by mistake he inadvertently clicked on a wrong link which sort of was meant to withdraw his application from the entire process. But the court also ruled in Siddhant's favor, saying that one click should not alter someone's entire future, especially after working hard for so many years for something as competitive as the IIT examinations. So that is something which was very special, is that these students are setting examples for each other to sort of fight for what they deserve.
When she spoke to Prince, he talked about the Joint Seat Allocation Authority, an agency established by the Ministry of Education to manage and regulate the admissions.
He said that all of it is computerized. No person can sort of interfere and help a student out if a student is trying to approach the counseling center at the IIT with their technical problems. So he said that should be changed, So he said that the system cannot be constructed in such a way that after working so hard, you cannot deny a student their right to study in an IIT just because your system showed some fault. He said human interference must be included in some or the other way.
You were listening to 3 Things by the Indian Express. Today's show was written and produced by me, Shashank Bhargava, and was edited and mixed by Suresh Pawar. If you like the show, then do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also recommend the show to someone you think will like it. Share it with a friend or someone in your family. It's the best way for people to get to know about us. You can tweet us at Express Podcasts and write to us at podcasts@indianexpress.com.